This week's episode of Still Untitled is made possible by Star Talk All-Stars. In a world filled with fake news, flat earthers, and conspiracy theories, what's a thinking person like you supposed to do? Think like a skeptic, of course. On a recent episode of Star Talk All-Stars, neuroscientist Heather Berlin, PhD, and her comic co-host Ari Schaefer investigate the importance of skeptical thinking with our guests Cara Santamaria and Dr. Stephen Novella of The Skeptic's Guide to the Universe. Remember, trust no one, question authority, and listen to Star Talk All-Stars wherever you listen to podcasts for rigorous scientific thinking you crave. Now on with the show.
Welcome to Still Untitled, the Adam Savage Project. I'm Will.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Norm.
Hello, boys.
Hello.
It's been a hot minute.
It has.
It's been a whirlwhand.
Sorry I was sick last week.
That's okay. I can still hear it in your voice a little bit.
You know, tis the season. How are you? How's everybody doing?
Good.
We didn't have our normal preamble here because you guys are just humping today.
So I'm leaving for Omaha to do a talk tomorrow when we're recording this. So I'm leaving at 3 o'clock to go to the airport.
Wow.
Okay.
Let's see.
Boy, are your arms tired.
This morning I woke up. I took some pictures for a project that I'm working on and did a little bit of writing. Then I took the one wheel all the way down to the Embarcadero to Green Street where I did pickups for an audio project that I'm working on. Then I came back to the Mission, went to Fellow Barber for my haircut that I get now every couple of months, and then rushed over to Tested where I had a phone call meeting, and then we recorded my favorite things.
Yep.
We did a catch-up on a project that we've been working on for a few months here, and now we're doing this podcast, and then I'm jumping on the plane.
Amazing.
The favorite things you just recorded is mwah. Very good.
You know, it's funny about that because this year feels like more than any other. I knew precisely what I wanted to highlight and how I wanted to highlight it. Other years, it's not like it's felt different, but just maybe less. This year, it felt like a real direction, and I was really pleased with the high and the low. High technology, low technology, bespoke, personal stuff, mass-produced stuff. We included it all.
It's when coming up with that list, because that could be like a 20-item list. If you're looking back at a year and the things that, whether it's techniques you learn or new things you process, like I go look through my PayPal purchases, essentially. Right. Not even the Amazon purchases, the PayPal purchases, because that's where I'm getting the one-offs and where I'm finding small resellers and discovering things. And that's just a fun retrospective journey for myself internally.
Well, and it seems like when we started doing favorite things years and years ago now, it was kind of a gift guide thing. And now it's just becoming increasingly a retrospective. Yeah. Like here's the stuff that made me brought joy to me and in 2018, look, we all need all the joy we can find. Well,
and Bayard Winthrop, who runs American Giant, makers of the incredible hoodie and the hoodie
I'm wearing right now,
and now plaid shirts. They're making the first plaid shirts to be built in the United States since the 80s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like flannel?
I'm not sure flannel specifically, but if you there's a beautiful New York Times article I tweeted from a couple weeks ago that's a deep dive into the work that American Giant did with manufacturers all over the country to bring this to fruition. Anyway, one of the first compendiums I did, the favorite things, included the American Giant hoodie. And we were talking about the fact that when I was talking about it, it wasn't really about the hoodie itself. It was also about the story of the hoodie, the story of local manufacturing and the things that we like to highlight here on Tested.
Tailor Stitch. I did Tailor Stitch years and years ago. And they're just down the street at Valencia and 15th, I think. And they do jeans manufacturing. And they make really amazing jeans that should cost way more money than they do. And they're like $150. I mean, they were cheaper then.
And Tailor Stitch is a terrific gift certificate to buy someone.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, buy a gift certificate to go get a shirt built for you. I had 2 shirts built for me when I did Dangerous Toys. That was what I wore on that show. And there's nothing like a fitted piece of clothing.
So I did a thing, and I haven't gotten the clothes yet, but I'll report back.
Oh, you're talking about
I did the
QR
Zoho
code
suit.
thing.
Did you do the Zoho suit?
I've read about
the one where you wear the dots.
It's.
Do you have the dot
Is it
photo?
slimming?
I did not let Gina take a photo.
It's like
It was. There were unsightly bulges.
You bulgy mocap guy.
Yeah, It was. You know how sometimes you watch those mocap things and there's blurs in certain areas, or maybe they're wearing like a pedal or a cod piece there. Yeah, I needed the cod
why don't you
piece.
explain what this is?
So the Zoho suit is it's a company that's I think out of Hong Kong maybe, and what they do is they send you what is essentially one of those like nylon lycra skin suits, but it has a bunch of fiducials on it, like hundreds of fiducials,
QR codes,
QR codes. Yeah,
right.
So it's something that you put the suit on and you like fit it over your thumbs and over your ankles and all this, so that they can exactly measure your precise dimensions theoretically, and then you T-pose in front of your phone on a little cardboard stand that they give you, and you rotate at a slow rate.
Wow.
And they from that can tell like how big around your neck is.
Well, so I came across an article of someone who had it done.
I think
and
his
their
photo
results
did one,
were
and
very
no,
poor.
It was, and thinking about just the technology behind it, like theoretically,
it should be doable,
right? It should be, but the way you're measuring it has to be calibrated for basically your photography setup, because the lens on your phone, the distance that you're taking the pictures from, I'm not even talking about light quality. That all factors into the calibration.
Well, okay, so the phone lens is pretty straightforward because I was using an iPhone 10 and everybody like they know what that is, right?
Yeah.
But I was really like I couldn't. I have a relatively small San Francisco house, and there was only one spot in the house that I could get the right distance from it and still have room to rotate without knocking stuff off of walls.
Right? No, seriously.
And yeah, so I'll be interested to see. The clothes were really like cheap. Like you can go to there's plenty of tailors here I could go to and get custom stuff made, or I could go to Tailor Stitch or any number of other places. And well, I mean, we'll see. I'm interested to see what a $50 white button down that's custom made for me looks like.
I was in Mexico City earlier this year, and one of the things I noticed is that many more people in Mexico wear fitted clothing. And you can just see, you can tell the difference. And it's very much the same as like in London and in Europe, you see the same thing. We Americans are very much an off-the-rack culture. And I really appreciate stuff that's been fitted.
It's often much less expensive than you think.
No, and my son found this out. I gave him an old jacket a few years ago, and he was like, it's too big for me. And I said, take it and get it tailored. And he's like, I can't afford that. And I'm like, it's like $15 to get a jacket taken in.
And it makes a world of difference. Think about your favorite pair of shoes or your favorite shirt. And why it's your favorite shirt. It's probably because it fits well and because you think you look good in it. That feeling is kind of priceless. And when you think like you can turn any shirt or any piece of clothing that you get off the rack and make it feel like that, the $15 is worth it.
Well, it's the same thing for shoes. There's a cobbler just down the street from here again. And this is one of the benefits of living in a big city. If you live in a smaller town someplace, you may not have this accessible.
So simple,
but like I have a pair of shoes that I really love, and they had gotten damaged, and I took them down. He was like, yeah, okay, it'll be like 3 days, and it's going to be $15 to fix what was a $200 pair of shoes.
Amazing.
That is now better than new, because he was like, oh, I noticed I noticed from looking at the insoles that you were sliding back and forth on the ball of your foot. So I put just a little bit of a shim in there to hold your foot so it doesn't wiggle as much in the front.
Amazing.
It's like these shoes feel amazing now. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And it's not a type of service that needs the same type of disruption that two-day Prime delivery has done. Like you can go down if you live in the big town. Like understandably, not every city will have a cobbler or a tailor within walking distance. But
if you're considering, listen, it's not a good thing. Getting your stuff in a couple of days is awesome. Getting your stuff overnight is awesome. I totally get that, and we're all addicted to the services that deliver the things. But there's also a really important part of society that is a city and places that you can go to get stuff that is built by people you meet and talk to specifically to fit your body and your life. And I place a high value on those and try and give those folks my business, because they have to run a business. They have to pay their rent, and they have to pay their people, and it's not cheap and it's not easy, especially when, it's like I had friends with a furniture store and they had to close it because their furniture store was a place where people went to look at stuff that they then went and ordered online. So all they were was an avatar warehouse.
Yeah.
The place that makes the dining room chairs that I've had for 20 years and that I love in Central Virginia has been making furniture for 200 years. And they recently had hey, I think we're going to go out of business scare. And luckily somebody who is a fan of their furniture was like, well, we'll give you X number of dollars to keep you going so you can figure this out and solve your short-term cash flow problem. I'm like, holy, I mean, thank you. If I ever get a bigger table, it'd be really useful. But also, yeah, support your small businesses.
Exactly.
I've noticed, and I don't know if this is just conspiracy thinking, but in certain stores, just inside the store, no cell phone reception. Are people blocking signals? Do you think
that's against the law?
Number one, so if they were actively blocking the signal, cell phone companies would know it because they can see it.
Right.
They can see the blank spots. There was a guy a few years ago who was really mad on his Florida commute about people talking on their cell phones. So he bought a Chinese cell phone jammer, and when he pulled up next to people, he'd turn it on and their phone would shut off. And the local cell towers were picking this up, and over literally a couple of years, they were able to triangulate and figure out that it was a regular thing, and they eventually waited for him and they caught him, and it's a big fine and it's a real crime.
Whoa.
Well, but you also remember we used to see that guy with like 6 cell phones in a briefcase in the park by Battery. And he was one of the roving signal quality testers, and they would these guys just walk around with these cases. It's a really you'd actually really love it because it's like
totally.
like you open it up, and at the time it was like 6 or 10 feature phones just jammed up in a thing, and he would sit there for like 5 minutes and hook it up to a computer, and then he would move on to the next spot, and that was just one of his stops.
You just created a great movie plot point, a spy thriller plot device, where the agency can track the person who's blocking the signals, because it's easy to say, let's go look at the ping the marketing signals, and now you can find out who lives there, because that's real. That's scary.
What they went through to find him was really significant. Now, I'm fascinated by this technology because there's a William Gibson book. I think it's in Spook Country.
The guy with no face. That one?
Well, I think Spook Country is the one where they're tracking down the money. The container full of money.
Yeah, it's the
and
bullet
so
hole.
And in this one, at one point, 2 characters have a meeting, and one has a small Pelican case, and he flips a switch, and the other one says, "What is that?" And he says, "Oh, it's a signal jammer that blocks everything from UHF, VHF, all the way up to shortwave and microwave. So we have a 50-foot bubble of total silence." I want that box. I know it's totally illegal, but I want that box. I know I can't even import the things that do that. But it's not to say that the stores aren't doing passive signal jamming. All they have to do is sheetrock some screen into their walls, and they could turn their store into a Faraday cage.
That's right. I was thinking about that because is there a market for tiny Faraday cages for your car to put your phone in so that your location isn't pinged nonstop?
Well, and actually, The Daily recently, Michael Barbaro on The Daily did an extensive dive into how much information is being tracked on you, and it shocked even me, I feel like I keep a pretty good eye on this stuff, and I still felt that what they came back with was whoa.
This is from the New York Times.
It was a New York Times article.
And I thought about lining. What if you had a purse and you just lined it in brass screen so that your phone wouldn't get any signal?
Somebody texts you. How do you get the text?
Well, you get the text when you pull it back out. But you're not giving them constant updated data about where you are.
You could
Whenever you're not using the phone, it's not telling you.
And it's not requiring you to go into the software and trust the software to actually turn the services back off and on.
Yeah, that I don't trust.
The other thing that came out about that was the facial recognition. There's a growing movement about being aware of how facial recognition is being used and
misused.
And misused. Like, one of the things that I saw the other day is a Nest doorbell, smart doorbell with a camera on it, that actually, if you pay for their cloud service, will do face recognition on you. And
but what happens to that data?
Well, I mean, look, that's a whole other thing. But it's like that's a positive thing, because then it doesn't give you false positives. If your kid comes to the door, it only does it when the FedEx guy shows up. Yeah. But like, I'm increasingly thinking maybe we should all be building glasses with IR LEDs in them, so that, William Gibson style, so that people can't, so the cameras don't work in public, because they're everywhere.
Or we just become juggalos, because the insane clown posse, they foil all the facial recognition.
Down with the clown.
Does it really?
It does.
The white paint?
Oh, no, it's totally.
It's the patterns. It's basically like what was the razzle dazzle camouflage for your face?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It turns out that the juggalo is the most consistently successful at foiling facial recognition.
On the flip side of that, you've seen those computer generated human images where you can't tell that this photo of a person was 100% manufactured by computer from a database. So is it impossible for them to make a juggalo face then?
No, not at all. Well, here's the other aspect of this is it's easy to feel a little like, oh my God, they're coming for me. But I really appreciate that a paper of record like the Times is writing a deep dive into this. We are right now, as a society and a culture across the world, having this discussion. Is this a value to have me being tracked like this? And the paper and the reporters are really writing about it in a way that I find is engendering a public debate. The question is, how much do you sign over, and how clear is what you're signing over when you're in the process of doing it? These are the questions that we need to ask and to decide upon what is our
weighing
value.
The cost benefit. The benefits are tangible. The costs are not. They're incredibly intangible.
Exactly. And so when you have something with a tangible that has that bifurcation of the intangible cost with the tangible benefit, things get really, really sticky, and they can stay sticky for a long time. And it takes sophistication to kind of understand and parse all the aspects of that debate.
So Mozilla, in full disclosure, Mozilla asked me to help with this. But the Mozilla Foundation did a gift guide that shows, how it gives a privacy score to all of the items, to a lot of the items that people are buying for Christmas this year. It's like a privacy gift guide.
Yeah.
And I'll be tweeting about it on Thursday, which is probably when this is going up, or tomorrow, I would guess.
As soon as possible.
As soon as possible. Okay. So, but they went down a ton of different, even down to like kids' toys, because there's a lot of smart toys that are connected in ways that you don't think about.
The vulnerability of kids' toys is terrifying. Every single kids' toy is a goddamn Trojan horse to your house.
Well, not all of them.
Okay,
not all of them.
Many of them.
Like so. For example, there are companies that are really good about privacy, like Little Bits. Seems super dope.
Of course they would be.
Yeah, but
yeah.
I mean, nothing's guaranteed in this day. But yeah, you have to pay. You have to think about, if you connect it to Wi-Fi, you should really think about it and think about what it's doing and what it's selling and what it's selling about you. Because the old thing that Cory Doctorow was saying in like 2003, which is if you're not paying for something, you're probably the product, not the customer, is more true now than ever. And as more devices and more things become connected to the internet, you really, really, really should think about it with everything.
Exactly. Do your research.
For real bummer of a Christmas episode, guys.
Hey everybody, Norm here, and before we continue with this week's episode, I want to thank the sponsor that makes it possible, and that's OpsGenie by Atlassian. Because incidents happen, and they require complex coordination between operations and software development teams who are putting out fires every day. That's why getting alerts immediately is critical. Thankfully, there's OpsGenie by Atlassian. OpsGenie empowers dev and ops teams to plan for service disruptions and stay in control during incidents. It also gives teams the power to respond quickly and efficiently to unplanned issues, and helps notify all the right people through a smart combination of scheduling and escalation paths that account for things like time zones and holidays. Better yet, OpsGenie allows for deep flexibility in how, when, and where alerts are deployed, with over 200 integrations like Jira, Amazon CloudWatch, Datadog, New Relic, and more. Plus, it tracks all activity and provides useful insights to improve future incident responses. It's services like OpsGenie that allow the other services that you rely on and you use so frequently, especially during this holiday season, to stay up and running without service interruptions, because those engineers are on it. With OpsGenie, your next incident doesn't stand a chance. Visit opsgenie.com to sign up for a free company account and add up to 5 team members. That's opsgenie.com. Never miss a critical alert again with OpsGenie. Now back to the conversation. Have you guys seen the Avengers Endgame trailer? Teaser?
No.
You don't watch them anymore.
No, I am staying away from it as well.
What?
But here's what my son said. Have you seen it? And I go, okay, let me guess. Bomb shot of someone sad. Bomb shot of a big thing. Bomb shot of an explosion. He's like, yeah, you pretty much got it.
So the one thing that I saw was the memes about Hawkeye being really sad and pissed, and I love how that character has come full circle. Because remember when Avengers 1, the first trailer came out, and it closed with that shot, the orbital shot around the six heroes standing away in a circle facing out, and everybody's like, oh man, it's the Hulk, and it's Captain America, it's Iron Man, it's the god of hammers, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's a girl with a gun and a bow and arrow guy. What the hell? And now they're setting up the bow and arrow man
and Hawkeye.
Yeah, the bow and arrow Spider-Man's going to save the universe, man.
So I have not. I have not watched it, and I don't plan on watching it.
Good luck.
Are you sure
Comes
you're
out
going to
in
go
April.
see it? I mean, that's yeah.
Oh, I'm totally going to go.
Oh, okay,
I'm
okay.
going on opening day. That's why I'm wearing my cap gloves for this
Yeah,
podcast.
you're ready to
I'm already
punch the
excited.
universe.
I'm dying to go.
Yeah. I would go see it right now if it were an option.
What else has come up lately?
So Enter the Spider-Verse, I'm going to see this weekend because the trailers, the reviews for that have been unbelievable.
And the trailers are magnificent, and
yeah.
it looks visually incredible.
It looks like the most exciting animation I've seen in a long time. Like the stuff that they're doing with stretching, like there's a great talk on, I think, the first season Simpsons DVDs with Al Jean and Groening and some of the people who did the work on those early seasons, where they had talked about sending the animation off to Asia to be done and being really upset when they got it back and all the characters' limbs were all stretchy like a Betty Boop cartoon.
Oh, right.
And how they wanted it to be very realistic and it seems like the Spider-Verse is doing the thing that they didn't want to do to incredible effect, where like Miles Morales' limbs seem to be a little bit more fluid than they should be, but it makes him look like he's running at like 120 frames a second in not a soap opera way, but just in an awesome way.
Oh, this also happened. I went and saw Mortal Engines in Los Angeles
went
this
to the
week.
premiere.
I went to the premiere.
Awesome.
Cool. The Peter Jackson World War I movie.
No, that's called They Shall Not Grow Old.
Oh.
This is the Christian Rivers directed movie from a series of novels, Mortal Engines. It's a couple thousand years in the future, wherein big cities like London are tracked vehicles traveling across a barren landscape, eating other cities in order to burn fuel.
Oh, that's grim.
It is grim. It's a completely new look on a post-apocalyptic future. The books were considered very steampunk. Tested, of course, we went down to, not of course, if you don't know, but we went down to New Zealand. We did some coverage. I got to talk to the effects directors and art director and the director, Christian Rivers, and Peter Jackson about this world building. And look, the film is really fun. The world building is incredible. The world building is some of the best I've ever seen, because it feels steampunk, but they stayed very away from a lot of the normal tropes. And so I feel like they expanded what you can really think of as steampunk. There's aspects of Miyazaki in there in the design. It's a fun romp. I really enjoyed it.
Mortal Engines?
Mortal Engines.
I finally saw Mission Impossible Fallout the other day.
Dude, congratulations.
That movie's very good. Turns out Chris McQuarrie, he can make a movie.
I watched. My wife and I watched it twice.
Yeah.
And that never happens.
No, Henry Cavill's mustache is just mwah.
Dude, and I just never get tired of watching him cock his arms.
Yeah,
The bathroom fight scene.
30 style boxing.
Yeah.
Also, Henry Cavill is funny. He's constantly hilarious in that role.
I think if you watch Man from U.N.C.L.E. and he was in that,
right.
Which I have not seen.
Oh, it's very good.
It's the Guy Ritchie movie based on the TV show, of course.
It's good?
And it's Armie Hammer and Man from Henry Cavill, and that I think was what sold the director on casting him.
The thing about Cavill is, I mean, he plays they describe that Tom Cruise is a scalpel and Cavill is a hammer. And he really is. That's how he plays it. But he also, just with the look on, he turns out to be an actor of incredible subtlety.
He's wry.
He's wry. He knows the joke that the scene needs. He's playing to it, and yet continually being dangerous and scary, like a good,
Very scary.
confusing, scary guy. I'm not going to say he's the villain because
It's unclear.
it's unclear.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is that he's the new male hero, A-list hero in a team that you have Tom Cruise, Simon Pegg, Ving Rhames, and
Jeremy
even
Renner.
Jeremy Renner is not.
He's not in this one.
But like Elsa Faust, who it's continuous. He's the new character, and they play off of that, and the other people have a rapport, and he's just the new guy, and that's where a lot of the humor comes from.
It's I really enjoyed the spit out of that movie.
Well, so it's funny because that series has now become 2 trilogies, right? Because it was the first ones that happened like 20 years ago, and then they took a little break, and then Brad Bird made a new one, which was I think probably my favorite of the whole run. The J.J. Abrams one is great.
That's
the
my
Chris
favorite.
McQuarrie ones are great. but the fourth one is magic for me in a way that the previous ones hadn't been.
Interesting. The last two have been my two favorite, and the last one is absolutely my favorite.
The Fallout or
Fallout,
Rogue Nation, yeah.
Rogue Nation, Fallout, which that itself is, I think, is a trilogy. It's the Ethan Hunt, Elsa Faust relationship.
The Brad Bird one is going to be like an in-betweener.
Yeah, it sets up one or two of the characters.
It brings it introduces Simon Pegg and Jeremy Renner, right?
Simon Pegg was in the third one.
Oh, right, but he was
Ving Rhames has been in all of them.
Yeah, Ving Rhames. Well,
I'm a student of the impossible.
Yeah, I know. I know how you feel.
I am a student of the impossible. If you ever say that to someone at a party, I think they're in their right to punch you in the face.
Or just walk away.
Only amongst friends on a podcast.
Yeah.
One recommendation I have on Netflix is a Dave Attell, Jeff Ross comedy special called Bumping Mics.
Bumping Mics.
And their humor may not be everyone, but Jeff Ross is the roast.
Jeffrey Ross.
Yeah, he's the roast guy.
Oh my gosh, I love Jeffrey Ross.
He's for all the Comedy Central roasts. Dave Attell, legendary comedian, but they're best friends. And they've been touring, and this is a 3-episode miniseries in which they end their tour in New York City, go to the Comedy Cellar, and play Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday. And every episode is different one of their nights. And it's a little bit like Comedians of Comedy, documentary style, their relationship, how they approach comedy, and then their 30-minute set filled with a lot of guest stars, which is in the audience.
Fascinating.
Like I'll just say, for example, Bruce Willis is in the audience, and they bring him up and
that's weird.
And riff with him.
Wow.
And
I'd be afraid to do that. He's really scary.
Yeah, no, I would too. I mean, I've heard Kevin Smith talk about him, and that doesn't sound, sound scary.
It's not a comedy show. It feels very much like you're in the Comedy Cellar. It's not
I'm
a
super
stage
psyched
set.
about that.
Oh, that's cool.
They're just riffing. They just sit on the ground. They just riff on. They just like insult each other, and anytime they burn each other, they bump their mics. It's like tipping the glass.
good.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Have you seen Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat? What? Sugar, fat, salt, tomatoes?
It's only 4 things, right?
Salt.
Will, are you having a stroke?
Look, man, I'm all hopped up on cough syrup.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, salt, acid. I think it's salt, acid, fat,
Heat,
or something like that. It's
I have
exceptional.
not.
It is unbelievable.
I believe my son, who is a cook, has been watching it religiously.
I watched the first 2 episodes, and it's unlike anything I've seen before.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's really
fabulous. I've spent the last couple of weeks in fervid pre-production on a new show that I'm working on for the Science Channel. I can't tell you much more about it than that, but I will say the production team is firing on every cylinder, and we are bringing in some guests on this show that are pretty amazing, and it's working. Like people are having time to come participate and come play, and I'm really looking forward to reveal more details about this show. And of course, Mythbusters Junior, which I shot this summer with 6 amazing new Mythbusters. These kids airs on Wednesday, January 2nd, 9 p.m. on the Science Channel. Please watch for it. Please watch it. It is such a beautiful show. The first episode is Duct Tape Tires and Duct Tape Parachute. The Duct Tape Tires were inspired by an article on Jalopnik, and Parachute came from one of my producers, Jax Marker. I thought we were all done with duct tape. I thought we'd done everything you could possibly do with duct tape, and the kids tested 2 brand new things to an incredible effect.
Wait, did you throw the kids out of an airplane with a duct tape parachute?
Probably not.
Okay.
But I did teach a 12-year-old how to drive.
Nice.
Yes.
Hey, that's a perfect age to learn to drive, yeah.
It's legal, even without a permit, on a closed course. With a qualified instructor,
private
which
property,
it turns
you can
out
do
that I
whatever you
am.
want, yeah.
No, it's awesome.
Everything's legal.
On the Alameda runway.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
And that kid has a good story.
No, it truly.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't wait for the world to see Junior. We're going to be teasing it a lot and showing some clips on my Twitter feed and on my social channels, and we'll cover some of it here on Tested as well.
Cool. I guess it's different. I have a heart out today. I'm sorry.
All right, man. Have a lovely night.
Yeah, thank you. See you guys next time. I guess this is it till next year, right?
Or
are you guys
going
to be back?
So. I don't know. If I don't have time, we're going to do one more recording.
Oh,
absolutely. Yeah,
fine.
We'll see you in the new year.
We'll see you guys next year. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.